Hey all, and this is a stage I made called Trial of the Hylian Hero. This level is inspired from 8 of my other levels, 8 elemental palaces. The level was made for the Link 1 Heart challenge, so what that means is you only had one attempt to beat the stage. If you take damage at any point, then you failed. There's a clear condition here for that. Reach the goal without taking damage. So there's no checkpoints in the stage. So let's have a quick look at the stage. So this is what the overworld looks like. As I've already mentioned, this is inspired from my 8 palaces. There's sections taken from each palace in the level. If you played some of those palaces, you may recognise the sections. That's the end boss over here. Then the end of the stage. So let's go back and go in the pipe at the start. Enter the subworld. So the level itself is not especially difficult. However, because of how long it is and because you can't take damage at any point, that is what adds to the challenge. So what I did here was took screenshots from my other levels and then just copied them in the editor here to make the level. This actually took a very, very long time to make. Screenshotting sections from 8 different levels is never going to be easy, but I think the end result is pretty good. So let's play the level from the start. Alright, so you have the Super Mario Galaxy music playing from the start. I thought that went quite well with this level. It kind of reminds me of the perfect run from Super Mario Galaxy 2. A long and difficult level where you can't take damage. Very similar to this stage. So you have a choice of 2 conveyor belts. The one on the left, you may notice, is going faster. So if you want an easier option, go for this one here. Get the Link sword and then throw a bomb in like so. Beware that bombs act a little bit differently because this is Ground Knight. They have legs now. I'll throw a bomb across to here to show you what I mean. Yeah, it does that before it stops. So let's go into the pipe and actually play the stage. The first section, just avoid the spike balls like so. You can get the coins quite simply just by jumping up. Don't go too fast though, otherwise you might run straight into a spike ball. Now for this section, really easy. Hit the on-off switch and then fire an arrow up at the 2 power blocks. There we go. So on to the next section. You can fire an arrow up like so to get the 50 coin. You can also take out the piranha plants here, which definitely helps a bit with the section with the snake block. Can also use the shield like that to deflect the fireballs. So if you take out most of them, this should be pretty easy. Then you have the cannonball section here. You can stop in the middle like that to avoid the cannonballs. Then jump across like so. So for this section, be a bit careful. The easiest way to get the coins, if you want the coins, is to fire an arrow like that. This does also act as a small shortcut if you don't want to go the lower route. There we go. So I'm going to move on to the next section. This part, just beware of the fish bones that come out of the cannons. Then throw a bomb in like so. It should stay in the middle. And then turn everything like that. There we go. Then you can go in the pipe. So for this section, fire an arrow at the coins if you want them. Beware of the thwomps. They act slightly strange now. If you look at their eyes, they're doing kind of weird things. They don't drop down when you expect them to either. So best just to go for it like that. Then jump up and get the coin, or fire an arrow and get the coin if you completely missed it like I just did. So this section here is really easy. Just go up to the top and then go in one of the gaps. then go in the red pipe like so. This section, this is actually quite hard. It's easier if you don't run, actually, and then just beware of the fireballs here. You can jump up and get the coin if you're careful. It's best to avoid the conveyor belts completely at that section. Just stay on the corners. Almost there. Right, into the door. This section is just a puzzle room. All you have to do here is drop down the seesaw. Then you need a few of the dry bones to stay on it like so. Once there's enough, you can throw a bomb into one of the gaps, whichever one you want to go into. That opens up the next section and also takes out all the dry bones. That's quite useful, actually. Then we go into the pipe here. Now this section is quite tricky. I have messed this up quite a few times. You want to completely avoid the cannonballs in this section and just be really careful. Done something like that. As with the previous section, it's easier if you don't run, in my opinion. Or don't hold in the run button. This part's quite tricky as the munchers are sort of out of timing now, so I'll go quickly like that. And somehow I did it. I've messed this up so many times. Right, into the red pipe, and then this is the final boss of the stage. Hopefully you won't mess this up. Just fire an arrow up at the power blocks. Beware of the fireballs. If you take a hit now, you're going to be annoyed. Put it that way. And then, once you got the last power block, you get the key and you have a choice of 2 doors. It doesn't really matter which one you go into. However, the one on the left is slightly faster. Then that's it. You can also jump over the goal if you're really careful. That leads to this section and a hidden master sword. I was originally going to put a 1-up mushroom in that block, but there's no 1-up mushrooms in a ground night theme. Instead, you have the poison mushroom. So that's the level. Now I'm going to show you where these sections of the level came from. And then afterwards, I will try and upload this stage. That should be fun. Alright, so here are the 8 palaces that the level is inspired from. There's the Desert Palace. And the Ice Palace here. Scroll up carefully. There's the Forest Palace. Spirit Palace here. As I've already mentioned, the level takes a section from each of these levels. In some cases it takes more than one section. That's got quite a low clear rate on it. Then the hardest one, the Shadow Palace, 0.62%. So let's go to the Desert Palace. Let's find it. There we go. Let's play this stage. So the first 2 parts of the level are kind of inspired from this level. As you can see, you have an initial room where you have to get the sword, as the trial level did, except it's a bit easier here since this is the first level. All you have to do is go up the side and then go in like that. So I also took this section for the level, except there was no horror effect and no wind, so in the trial level this section is probably a tiny bit easier. So this is the next section. This is taken from the Ice Palace, except it's reversed. Exactly the same thing you have to do here, just hit the power blocks. Nice and easy. There we go. So this is the Forest Palace. This is where the next section of the level was taken from. The only difference here is the horror effect is on. Exactly the same, pretty much though. Have the same cannonballs here and that section with the munchers just afterwards. You can do the same trick with this stage as you did in the other one with dodging the cannonballs. You can also get the coins. This time though you can actually take damage since it's not the one hit level. It's a little bit harder to get the 50 coin. There we go. Well, it seemed a bit harder anyway. The gap might be a tiny bit smaller. There we go. Alright. Alright, so this is where the next section is taken from. This is the Spirit Palace. This is exactly the same puzzle, except you don't have those fish bones dropping down from the cannons. Beaten in exactly the same way, just throw a bomb in. On to the next section of the level. This is actually taken from the Earth Palace. The Earth Palace version is slightly easier, as the thwomps come down immediately rather than sort of waiting there for you to go across then coming down. So the next section of the level is taken from a very early section of the Water Palace. This is actually the room where you get the sword for the first time. I replaced the cheap cheats with munchers though, since you can just take those out with arrows on the trial stage. The next section of the level is taken from the Fire Palace. The Fire Palace version is way harder. I had to tone this down a lot. The fireballs come out a lot quicker and the platforms are actually smaller to land on. Very easy to make a mistake here. However, as with the other version, if you don't run in places, it is definitely easier. The next section of the level is taken from the Shadow Palace. Similar principle, use the dry bones to weight up the seesaw. This time you need to get coins though, rather than hit a power block. It's still quite tricky. You need quite a few to weigh it down, otherwise you won't be able to get the bombs up there. As before though, just be careful. And unlike the trial, you have to go back now, which is slightly different. And the next section is also taken from the Shadow Palace, except it's quite a bit different. The claw version on the Shadow Palace is very difficult and pretty long. So what I did is I changed this a lot and made it shorter. Let's see if I can do this. I've not played the Shadow Palace for a long time. This is one of the hardest parts of the stage, if I'm being honest. This is where the idea came from, but I had to change it a lot due to length and difficulty. Claws are much further apart here, and you often have to drop onto certain obstacles like the spring. And then cannonball here, see if I can do that. There we go. And now for the end boss, which is actually the sub-boss from the Desert Palace. Exactly the same, except there's 2 less power blocks in this room to start. I chose this boss as I wanted a relatively easy end boss for the stage, considering how long and difficult it is just to get to that point. And there we go, this is how I made the level. As you just saw, it takes sections from 8 of my other palaces. So there we go. Now that I've shown you that, let's try and upload this stage. Okay, so I think I'm just about ready to try and upload this stage. Link 1 Heart Challenge. Prove your skill and become a Hylian Master. Now there will be a harder version of this level uploaded at some point. This is to fit in with my super world. This is what I consider the easy version. So, can I beat this stage? That's the question. Well, there's only one way to find out. Here we go, let's try and upload it. So I've got to beat the whole level without taking damage. This is actually easier than the original version. I uploaded a test version and the clear rate was only around 2%, so I've made changes based on that. Alright, let's get into the palace. So the parts that may cause me problems are near the end of the stage. The part with the claws and the part just before that. Up until then, I think it's pretty easy. Well, I was missing the power blocks there with the arrows, but that's okay. So careful here, I'll block that with my shield. Quickly across this part. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. So I changed what was originally fireballs that came out of those cannons for fish bones. It's a lot easier with fish bones. The fireballs seem to hit you from anywhere on that area. Now here I've got to be quick and careful. That was a bit too close. Right, so this used to be fish, it's now munchers. Problem with fish is that you could just use arrows to take them out. Now this is where it starts to get hard. Yeah, this is what I was saying. There's a middle section here though that you can stay on that wasn't in the original level. However, I have taken damage now, so the level is impossible. Let's just finish the stage anyway. Well, I won't be able to finish it. I'll be able to get to the end boss. Actually, no, I won't even be able to get to the end boss. I need the link power up to be able to get through this room. So let's try again. This time I need to be a bit more careful. Right, stay on the conveyor belt, that would help. Here we go, second attempt. Right, that's nice and easy. That's better. Okay, I managed to nail the shots first time. I should really try and get a decent clear check time, but I may have to make changes to the level if there are any problems. This is quite a complicated level, as you can probably see. So the uploaded version may not be the final version if any problems are found. Okay, that bomb was absolutely pathetic. Get in the gap. There we go. Right, there we go. Into the red pipe. Okay, let's do this. Well, I think I'll jump straight across and go in the middle part. There we go. The timing is really awkward at the moment. That's okay. Bit of careful jumping. This is looking a bit easier now. The timing's better. There we go. Alright. That was much better than my first attempt. So let's get a few on there to balance it. The original version of this... Oh, sugar. The original version of this room 2 bombs. It only requires 1 now. I don't want to hold on to a bomb for too long. If that hits me or damages me, then that's game over. Right, okay, let's throw one in. Perfect. Alright, just the final 2 sections to go. This is without a doubt the hardest part of the level. The easiest way to do this is to not hold in the run button. Just be really, really careful. Now that was extremely close to the muncher. Definitely the hardest part of the level by far. There we go, it's done. And now for the end boss. Right, don't mess this up. So the door on the left is the faster door. Let's go for that one. And then finish this stage. There we go. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. It took me 2 attempts. I was expecting it to possibly take more than 2 attempts. I wasn't really sure. It's a hard stage. So there we go. Trial of the Hylian hero. Prove your skill and become a Hylian master. So puzzle solving and link. There we go. Uploading course. There we go. X9F2WX 2LG if you want to give this a try for yourself. I recommend playing some of the other palaces first though, as this is very difficult. Now I'm going to try and speedrun the stage. I don't know how well I will get on with this, but I'll see what sort of time I can actually get on the stage. So there we go, that's the end of the video. It's quite difficult to get a good time on this level. I spent quite a long time actually practicing the level to get the run you saw there. This is a long and difficult level. Hopefully players won't be discouraged though by how long it is and stick with the level and then hopefully complete it. This will go in my super world at some point. There will also be a harder version of this level made. Good luck to those who want to try that. If you did enjoy this video, leaving a like and subscribing is always appreciated. Thank you to those that have already subscribed to the channel. There are a few other videos on the screen you may enjoy as well. Feel free to go check those out. And thanks for watching.